What's up, boat lovers? We're here in my shop. You already seen this setup before, but we got Milwaukee crazy. We're 3D printing. We're doing a bunch of things here. I got a bunch of remotes, Glendinning remotes on the table that needs to be examined and tested. And like I said before, majority of the time, it's people pulling on these things. So we have broken cables here. But we went out to a boat and we had a situation. We didn't record it, but my phone is somewhere here. And I will show you on my phone. What we end up doing is, it's a ZF control system. And the ZF control system, the guy is fighting. He bought solenoids, he done everything. He's actually went out and bought connectors and tried to figuring out what was going on. Well, he gave up. Well, what happened is the harness, this is the harness that we pulled out of the boat. Okay, and you can see it's a little beaten up. And then this is what we find. Okay, everything is all corroded. So what we're doing today is we're making a harness. Guys, we could do everything. We can make battery cables. We have the capability of making whatever size battery cables you want. Harnesses, if you have a harness that you have a situation that looks terrible or you want us to do it, we could do it. We could do it all, okay? But that's how it looks, used to look. And we got all new equipment here, all new supplies, I mean. Okay, we have the connector for the thing. I have all my Deutsch connectors over here. Okay, we could do it all. And I'm gonna walk you through a process on how we do this. So this is the 2-shift and the troll. Okay, this is the port, starboard shift and troll. And then this is the gear pickup. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and replace this, and it's all gonna look original. It's actually gonna even be better than original. Continue watching and we'll show you the progress. All right, guys, so now we already have our harness, our shifting harness and our troll harness here, and we're going to be doing the Deutsch connectors. So right now Julian already peeled back a 4-conductor cable, and he just made a mess out of all my connectors here. So guys, these things are like gold, you know. So he's properly sizing them, putting the connectors on them. So that's a 2-conductor, no, that's a 4-conductor, which we're gonna utilize this harness here for the port and starboard shift, and the single 2-conductor is gonna be for the troll. So after he gets all this done here, then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start putting it into our plug. Okay, ding dong. Put males on them, and then he ends up sticking a female. So now he has to start all over again. So I'm losing money already because he just did this. So he has to start all over. Okay, so now that we got our male ends on both ends, he got it correct this time. So what we're utilizing, instead of having each individual wire like before here, okay, the factory ran individual wires for this, but we're going to simplify it. So since we know that port and starboard always go together, we're utilizing a 18-2 port and starboard. So red and black will be for port, green and white for starboard, vice versa, whatever. And the red and the black will be for troll. So what we're going to utilize is one solid cable so that they're not individually strand, and the other one for troll. And now we're going to go ahead and use my cheat sheet. Well, this is what I used. okay, before I just took it apart. I verified what was port, what was starboard, and we're making it. So now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna actually take the pins, and this one here says for forward, we go to 7 and 8. So we come over here, we look at the number here, and number 7, what? He wants to do it. So the red is gonna go into 7. Just select, push it in. Okay, it locks, make sure. Do a 10-pound pull test. That doesn't come out, okay? And then number 8 is gonna be black. So he's gonna put the black wire. He's gonna put the black wire in number 8. He's gonna... 8. Okay. And I could see that he did not put the red in. Okay, the red is not in, all right? It has to lock. There's a little tiny pin that you could actually see inside. So you pull it. So, and what are we doing now? We're gonna do reverse, which is 11 and 12. So you pick a color for whatever you wanna be. There you go. And then 12. Okay, you push it in, turn it around, look at it in from the front, verify that the pins are nice and clean, and they're locked in. Now, before we do anything, we're gonna put a piece of heat shrink on top of this so that it looks more professional. There was a piece of heat shrink on here, but he just decides to, see, I had it. So now, I'm gonna slide it over here. And before we close everything up, we're gonna just put a piece of heat shrink here. And now we're gonna go ahead and do that. So before we do the heat shrinks, we're gonna go ahead and make sure that this harness is done. He's gonna clean up all these loose strands here. Okay, so now we have our shift harness connected. We verified that we have the pins in there. Before we do anything else, and we'll do a 10-pound pull test, which we normally do, but we do it again. And then after we do that, we'll go ahead and we'll put the lock in here. So we already got our troll, and we already got our shift. Now we're working on the input shaft speed and output shaft speed sensor. So we're gonna go ahead and make those harnesses, and this one here is a little bit different. It uses a, I'm trying to find it, right here. It uses a injector style weather pack. So we'll go ahead and we'll replace this. But this one here is a 3 conductor. So one of the wires goes back to here, and it uses the same neutral. So, and it shares it with this one. So there's the hot that goes into here, a hot that goes into here, and the 2 neutrals are connected to each other, so they're sharing the neutral. So that's why I used a 4 conductor here, and all I did was just cut it back. So this one here is going to be the positive, the positive, the positive, the negative, and the positive, negative. What I'm going to do, instead of having it connected here at this point, I'm going to connect it at the plug-in, or this portion here. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to connect it here so that we could commonize the grounds together. Okay, so we have all the harnesses here. Everything is connected to the Deutsch connector here. So like I said, one of them is sharing a common. So instead of making a butt splice here and utilizing a weak point, what we end up doing is we splice the 2 wires together, okay, and we commonize them both here. And if you notice, we have 2 of the commons going into the same pin right in here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to work on, we're going to put our sleeve on, okay, which we have everything here. I mean, we're all Gucci. This one was like this from factory, and we're gonna present it just like factory. So before we put the ends on over here, we're gonna end up putting the sleeves on, putting the heat shrink, making sure that this is connected right, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do the ends. But before you put the ends on here, you have to put the sleeve on. Okay, so after we get all of the protected jackets on, we put the boot on here, and it's a nice tight fit. Now we're putting on the ends over here. So we're working on the shift. So I've already did, or I explained it to Julian how to do the DIN cables. So we've already did this one on here. And if you can see, we color coded it. So we know that that one's gonna be for starboard, or left hand, right hand, forward, reverse. So I like forward being the red and the black, and reverse being green. So he's gonna take this apart, pull this out, and he's gonna end up wiring these things here. When you do open these things up, they're a little bit different. You pull the cover out, and it all depends on the solenoid. This is for the DIN type solenoid, and normally you're gonna use the two outside ones. The bottom one is hardly ever used, which is like a flat blade spade. So you could either orient it this way, however you want to do it when it goes inside the unit. But I like having my connectors with the wires going in from the bottom, so the spade will be on the bottom portion. Okay, you can have it like this with the spade there so that the cable could come to the side, or if you want, you could have it come like that, you know. But majority of the time, the spade on the solenoid is always on the bottom. So, but what we're gonna end up doing is utilizing the two outside ones, because that's what activates the coils. I'll show you what a coil looks like shortly. Okay, I'm back. I told you I'll be back. This is what a coil looks like, okay? And this is what a fucked up coil looks like. All right, see, this is what we end up dealing with. So, but on these specific coils here, okay, there's a marking on the top, okay? A marking on the top that tells you the voltage and all that. If you have it upside down, that's no good. The marking should always be on the top. If you notice on this one, someone has it backwards because the flat blade was sitting on the top. So this is completely wrong, okay? But when I tell you to orient this, it either goes both ways. So this is set, he did it correctly. No. So when the cable is connected to it, the blade is on the bottom and it goes in just like that. So you could have it either direction, like I told you, with a spade, and then that's the way that the thing will be sitting, sideways. So, but so that water doesn't get inside these units, being on the side, water could actually get in here or up like that. I like putting them down so that when you actually put it in there and these things are installed correctly, this is the way the units will be side by side, just like that. So we're gonna go ahead and put the screw in here, lock the unit in there, and our forward and reverse is done, and then he's gonna work on the trolling. Trolling is the same thing, downward position. Okay guys, we had to regroup a little bit because when we were doing the harness, I thought I had all of the merchandise or all the equipment. So, but we already showed you these. So we had to do a little bit of time lapse. Okay, so what we end up doing is sandblast the housing, which looked like shit. Now it looks nice. We put a boot. We protected all of the harnesses. Okay, it looks like factory. But the key things that were missing were the injector type plug and the weather pack plug. Okay, I ran out of it. I didn't have it. So unfortunately, you know, due to access of the internet, you could pick these up. So we have our kit for the future. You know, I thought, like I said, I thought I had it, but these are extra pins. But like I said, this is ready to go in the boat. And this is a harness that we could do. If you have a bad harness or something, you could ship it to us. And most likely we could probably do it. Like I said, we're doing battery cables, we're doing engine harnesses, we're doing transmission harnesses, we're doing boat harnesses, whatever. But I mean, if you send it to us, not like this, but I mean, if you give some sort of idea, we could do it. I mean, we have all the capabilities of doing it, and we could do better. So, like I said, guys, just reach out, let us know what you like, what you don't like, and like always, guys, like and subscribe.